I quite understand with what that means, that things are a bit difficult for people right now. But then, what is the implication? What's the impact on the economy? Should it be louder than it is right now? Yeah, the implication is that when you have a fun fair celebration, of course, the entertainment sector is you see a surge in income there. But then again, this calls for reflection for us as a people. This season, usually, people have to reflect over the past years, what has happened, what have we achieved. So when we have a boisterous celebration, to what end does it lead? We've had that in several years past. What were the gains other than the excitement that you are going for a fanfare, you're going for an elaborate celebration? So I think for us, we should focus more on what are the things that matter to families right now. School fees are there. Taking care of the children, feeding, and those other things. That's what families should fixate themselves with right now. When the economy is tight, you also need to readjust yourself and your family's expectations. So I believe that yes, people eat rice, people eat chicken like they have always done, but the extravagant way were you known for is what may not be there. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because one of the things you see with this kind of period is wastages. But I think we're learning how to adjust and how to cope with situation as the society progresses. So while I celebrate, I sympathize with people who are unable to be able to have the kind of celebration they want to have. I also think that it's about time for us to also think, what then would it mean to me if I am to celebrate in such a way that I invite all my friends and neighbors to come and eat ram and chicken and all of that? What would it add to me as a person? Really, there's no much gain other than excitement.
But wouldn't that be going against our, our style and culture? Because I mean, as Africans, we are known for this communal living, and you cook, you share. Your neighbors have something to eat. Your friends to come over, because even during the fast period, you see when they are breaking the fast, they still call friends to come over. So if you're not having enough, how would you even be able to live that communal style of having to call people, give them this, give them that? I mean, nobody called me for salad meat. I had to call them, and Cynthia, yeah, that's true. I mean, it just shows the level of hardship.
Okay, so first of all, the Salah celebration, this is the low-key Salah. So it's not the one you kill rams and all of that.
Yeah.
But so this is usually the one you see chicken and the rest of it. I don't think people have not had that.
Okay.
I came back home yesterday and I had some neighbors brought the Salah thing.
And you did not bring for us this morning.
Now, but that does not mean that may have been the case with everybody. Yes, we are used to the big celebration, the Nigerian way, but that, for me, we need to begin to look at what matters.
Okay.
It really matters for us to understand that things are changing, times have changed, things are difficult now than before, and so because things are difficult doesn't mean that people should not go overboard for that one day. Now, one of the reports we have is that a lot of people didn't go out to the prayer ground like they used to be, they used to do, albeit no thanks to people didn't have fuel, people didn't have means of transportation. These are things that matter. Yeah, but then again, we could pray in our closet. Families can pray at home, and then there are mosques all over the place.
Yeah.
So families could also go to those places to pray. But the bottom line, or it boils down to the celebration itself. People have not bought brand new clothes. must we buy brand new clothes every now and then? I mean, and I think in a year there are over 3-4 salas. So should you buy new clothes every time that there's a celebration? As Christmas, should you? As a matter of policy in my family, my children don't know when there's Christmas or when there isn't Christmas or Easter, because we don't make it a point of duty to buy them clothes during those festive period. You won't hear my children that, oh, I'm wearing my Christmas clothes. you don't hear that, because we have toned down on that, so that the expectations from them of us is lean when it comes to stuff like that. Do they have clothes to wear? Must that be brand new clothes? No. Are they clean? Yes. So these are things we need to look at.
Are you having so much fun?
Are we having fun? I mean, within the family, you can create the fun. The fun does not necessarily revolve around the food we eat. Before we came on this show, you were talking about the eating habits. So you have too much to eat, sometimes too much to even waste. And so we need to also begin to look at what are our priorities. If a family has more than enough and can eat and celebrate, I think it's not even enough for them to have more than enough and eat all of it. You can also share. And you don't need to make that elaborate thing. You must eat to the portion that is required. That's what I think we should be advocating for.
All right, let's now move on to another story that was everywhere on the papers this beautiful morning, talking about the Uromi killings. And it's really, really a sad one, because as we speak, we hear that the governor of Edo State is in Kano. He has been meeting with the governor of Kano State to see how that can be done. Talked about yesterday, he did say that he was ready to pay full compensation, to the families of the victims, of what happened in Edo State. Where does this keep us? Is this the start of something that we will not be able to solve? Because there are so many sides to what is being shared regarding to the Uromi killings. And is this the kind of problem that Governor Monday Okpebholo would want to have on his hand, knowing that he has several distractions right now? He still has his court cases, he still has this, he still had that, and then now this comes up. Is this the kind of problem Governor Monday wants to have on his hand?
Well, there's a saying that uneasy lies the head that wears a crown. And that's typically what's happening to the governor of Edo State right now. Nobody comes to power and think it's going to be a cakewalk or a walk in the park. I quite sympathize with the victims. It's unfortunate that this had happened, and we are seeing a degeneration in our society, where people take laws to themselves into their own hands. Jungle justice reigning. You hear sometimes there are innocent people that are victims of this kind of circumstances. Nobody has fully, the police, the DSS have not given us full report as to the extent of what had happened. This
when you say what had happened, are you meaning like what caused it? How did it escalate?
The causes,
okay.
The immediate causes.
Okay.
You are having various versions, and until we can have an authentic report as to this is the cause of what happened, then we can now begin to say, so we can now begin to postulate. But then before I get into that, is the fact that situations like this happen. Obviously there was some level of back and forth banters with these people before it degenerated to the point where they killed them gruesomely. What happened? The time of responses from our security agencies and also the tip they get matters a lot. So it tells you clearly that this would not have spiraled within 10-20 seconds. So what's our level of response when issues like this happen? Our alertness level of the security agencies are very poor. And I say this with all sense of responsibility, because even as a citizen, I can tell you what's also happening in my place in Otukpo. In a row, 3 days in a row, there's been kidnapping and killings in Otukpo. And you don't see the level of responses. So you hear that they came yesterday, shot a woman, shot a man, kidnapped his family, kidnapped other residents. and they go. They come back the same day, the same scenario repeats itself. They come back the third day, the same thing happens. So the question is, what are we reacting? How's our reaction? What's our intelligence level like? What's the intelligence community doing? Are they gathering this information? Are they passing it on to right channels? And when you pass up the information, because for the DSS, their job is strictly just to scoop information. And then they give it to either the police or the other agencies and also the authorities, maybe the local government chairman, the governor. What do you do with the information you get? Most times, the gap between information gathering and implementation or response to the information gathered is the problem.
It's a problem.
And so you have this intelligence that certain people are traveling, right? And there is this breakdown of law and order within 10 minutes and nobody responds within that period. It's, for me, it calls for questioning. When you go to other society, you see people, the police stationed across streets so that they can respond. In fact, when they see you as a stranger, they walk up to you politely and ask questions. Because for them, that they must gather the information. So you have this uproar of 16 people with hundreds of people trying to lynch them, and nobody comes to intervene in record time. First of all, they have to beat them, they have to tie them, stab them, and all of that, and burn them. And nothing happens. Nobody rescues anybody. For me, it says a lot about the kind of society we live in.
Let me ask you something, Mr. Kennedy. You did mention something about what is happening in Otukpo, which, of course, the issue of what is going on in Benue State, I mean, we both know it didn't start today. It's been there, but it's almost like government go, government come. Nobody has been able to solve the issue of what's going on in Benue State. We have communities who are burnt down, people killed every time. They can't even go to their farmlands. It was very terrible. Until now, it's still happening. So let me ask you a very direct question. This incident you've narrated happening straight for 3 days, what will be the reaction like if the people decide to say, okay, fine, these people doing this to us, we're going to take laws into our own hands and we're going to fight back. And then we have a scenario whereby these guys come again and they grab them and they take them off, they bundle them together and they burn them, give them massive retaliation as what you have been doing to us. You know, you've been killing our people and we've been running away, but this time around want to fight back. What would be the narrative if that gets to happen, a retaliation from these people?
So the question is that you need to look at the group psychology behind acts like this. What's the group psychology? The group psychology is that things are happening, we're not getting closure. And so you come, you grab people, you come, you kill people. And they expect that the authorities, in this case the police, the military, or the law enforcement agencies, are supposed to do something and get these perpetrators arrested and brought to justice. That's what the people expect of the state. Remember that as a people, we surrendered our right to self-defense to the state. And when the state fails us, then we now resort to defending ourselves. And that's what led to this kind of thing. Because they don't believe, the people believe that once a thing like this happens, if you take them to police, most times these people are bailed or they are released. And again, I can always go back to my society, Otukpo. There was a time, because the case of kidnapping in Otukpo became very rampant. And so the villagers and the hunters went to the bush and made arrests of people who are believed to be the ones terrorizing the communities. And they were taken to the police station. And the next thing is that they have been released. Now, when stuff like this happen again and again, and when you have people come, and when you have these perpetrators come to the communities, kidnap people, shoot people, kill people, and they don't see justice. The next thing is that the people begin to resort to self-help. Self-help because they feel that their society, their sanity, their sanctity, and their well-being is threatened. So the next thing you see is that they begin to burn themselves into some level of community policing. and begin to say we will task ourselves, we'll levy ourselves to contribute money, we'll levy ourselves. You know, the other time we saw the director of DSS, where he was calling for people for communities to protect themselves.
Exactly.
That's what we're getting to.
Exactly.
Where we are now admitting openly that we have failed as a state. We cannot protect the people who mandated, who willingly gave us the right to protect them, and we can't protect them. So people resort to this kind of situation, and that is the bane of this kind of situation we're having now. When you talk about what is the implication of this, it distorts governance. Here we have the governor who is supposed to sit in Edo State, begin to look at the memos that comes to school prepare, and then look at how he can better the lives of his people. But then you see him moving to Kano, see him going to other places. Why do you think he's doing that? He's trying to make sure that diplomacy, because I read yesterday that when the Emir Sanusi was admonishing his subjects not to retaliate. Because if you don't do that, if you don't engage the people, chances are that you will begin to see reprisals, not just in one location, but across northern Nigeria. And it will not, this scenario may not be only against the Edo people, but it will be against, now it's not the Edo people who even perpetrated this act. The people who perpetrated this crime are human beings, some people who are lawless. And so we cannot even generalize that it's the Edo people who did this. So we must go after, the law must go after these people who took out this. And I'm glad that some of them have been arrested. And so the law must take its course. And because the law is taking its course, other people who ordinarily would want to retaliate should keep calm and watch things unfold. So that's what I think should happen. Now, when you talk about, you brought me back, you took me back to the cases in Benue State. How can it be mitigated? The truth of the matter is that I do not think that there is solution in sight. Because you see this thing happen repeatedly. Not one location. I'm from Benue State. Almost the entire Benue State is engulfed.
What's your governor doing, Governor Hyacinth?
The governor is doing his best. But you see, again, the issue of security, particularly when it has to do with ungoverned spaces. Now, if the governor issues a mandate that any law, the law, particularly in Benue State, that states that that prohibits open grazing, that if you are caught, you should be arrested. Now, the question is that you have to look at enforcement. Do you have the manpower? Do you have the machinery to enforce that? That's one. Benue is such a large expanse, over 34 kilometers landmass, 34,000 kilometer landmass. How do you man those locations? What is the strength of the security agents across the state? And so you see a situation, these people come and these attacks are coordinated. They come when we are vulnerable, they come when you least expect it.
Sure.
So they go to the fringes, they go to where it's unmanned, ungoverned, unpoliced, and take this and carry out this act. The next time you react, you leave other flanks open. They go to the flanks you have left. And so the issue has to be, we need to begin to think of the most modern way for us to operate, which is we either increase the number of people who are manning our security, or we go into what we've been avoiding: state security, state policing, and community policing. And for me, community policing is the best way. Now, the other issue is that should we advocate for people to carry arms to defend themselves? Personally, with the way things are, yes, I would subscribe to that. I would advocate that people are licensed to carry arms to defend themselves and defend their communities.
But isn't that going to have a disadvantage as well?
Everything has advantage, everything has disadvantage. The disadvantage of where we are right now is that people are being killed unabatedly.
I want to ask you a question before we run out of time. I don't want to skip that question. It seems as though when the issue of the Uromi killing came up, it seems as though the people who are so concerned about it are the authorities, the governors, the people at the federal and state level. But it seems as if the people, that is the ordinary Nigerians, seem not to be moved by what happened. Just a handful are like, oh, it's so sad. But if you look at the comments, if you look at the reaction, a lot of people are saying, okay, we've had several times where people were killed in other states and we did not have this level of concern. So why is this level of concern coming now? Because these hunters were killed in Edo State. Some persons are blaming it on they're having a sense of bias, saying that, oh, does it mean that other Nigerians in other countries, in other states are not important? And some people have faltered to say, okay, why are these people holding sophisticated weapons? Because there have been several scenarios where these guys have been accused of holding sophisticated weapons. How do they get this? Okay, if you say you're a hunter, why are you holding this? If you say you're grazing, why are you holding this? I think there was a time we had a conversation with the Cattle Headers Association. They talked about how what they use is just sticks, but we've seen over time that when these reports come out, they are not just holding sticks. So who is not saying what?
So I think, again, people might be right to say that certain narratives are skewed towards bias, and they are not far from the truth. So again, it comes back to our level of intelligence gathering. These people moved from Port Harcourt, chartered a bus. I think, I'm not sure if there is rating hunters traveling services, and they are carrying all these weapons. Do you know the level of checkpoints that they passed? The number of checkpoints that they passed before getting to Edo. Let me give you let me give you a clearer picture. Between Edo and Delta alone, you have no less than 20 checkpoints.
Yeah.
Between Delta and Imo State, you have no less than 20. Between there and Port Harcourt, you have no less than 20. So the question is, what happened between those checkpoints up until they got to Benin? What happened? Were they checked, or they just squeezed money and gave to them? So it tells you why people are a bit unsympathetic, why you have the nuances you are having, why people are saying, oh, is it because they are from certain part of the country? Again, this also you can also link this with what happened in Adamawa State, where a farmer defended himself against an attacker who is a header, who came to attack him, but he overpowered the header and killed the header. And they sentenced him to death. So Nigerians are complaining. He was attacked. Again, in just
self-defense.
In self-defense. Just yesterday, in Benue State, another a farmer who had put I think pesticide on his farm. We heard that cattle went to graze on his farmland, and 20 of those cows died, and he was arrested. Now, should I not
take care of my farm?
Take care of my farm. Now, what is the responsibility of the header who is grazing on my farmland? You see, these are the nuances that people are giving vent to and relying on, and to say, no, this is because they are from certain parts of the country. And you see, justice must be done. Not only justice must be seen to be done, justice must be done to all, according to the law. There are no two laws for Nigerians. The law is the law for the guy from the north. The law is for the guy in the north central. The law is the law for the guy in the southeast and the southwest and south. So one law must apply to all. So if you graze into my farmland, where there is a law against that, what have you done? In fact, we should even arrest the man for grazing into a farmland and ask, why did you do that? You see videos, viral videos, where these people take their cows and uproot cassava, take up the yam bands and allow the cows to eat on them. In fact, I can tell you authoritatively, because this happens in my communities.
And they rape women, they kill women, they kill men, and all of that. So we cannot say this law must be answerable to just one section of the country. It must apply to us all. If the law applies to Kennedy, it must apply to you. And so we have to look at that. Then the other angle to it is that people now have a shared mindset where things are happening. We are not bothered anymore. For us, it's how many likes will I get? So the conscience of Nigerians they are beginning to get seared. People are not empathetic, sympathetic to things that happen in when we see them happen.
All right. I know that we have a lot to talk about on what's happening on the papers. I just wish we had more time, but 30 minutes is all we have. And thank you so much, Mr. Kennedy, for having this review with us this beautiful morning. I do hope that I will see you again tomorrow morning.
I hope so.
All right. So 8 o'clock, it's time for sports with Ivale Edu. And of course, you will not see me again till about 9, because by 8:30, we're going to have Daisy and Michael Domina with the Eastern Circle all the way from the East. Don't go anywhere.